Let's predict the top players in MLB in 5 years. Who will be the best player at each position in the year 2029? If you're anything like me, you're always thinking about what players are going to be the next stars. So much so you spend hours doing research about players at each position, looking at draft prospects and international prospects, and just trying to understand who these players might be. The inspiration for this video was a CBS article that I had reacted to a few months ago, where in 2019 they tried to predict the top 50 MLB players in 2024, which made me want to make my list, but I wanted to take a step further and do it by position instead. I had to look at the potential draft prospects coming up. I had to look at what players overseas might come to MLB, but in the end, I feel pretty good about this list. 5 years from now, we'll see how I did here. We're gonna go all the way around the diamond, starting at the catcher position. 5 years from now, I think the number 10 catcher will be Will Smith. He'll be entering his age 34 season. He's been an incredibly reliable catcher. I think 5 years from now, he'll still be really good. 9, as a Cleveland fan, Bo Naylor. I've always liked his skill set a lot. 5 years from now, he'll only be in his age 29 season. He'll be right in his prime. At 8, Cal Raleigh. One of the most underrated players of today. 5 years from now, he'll be entering his age 32 season. I think he'll still hit a bunch of home runs. 7, Logan O'Hoppe. I think he's one of the bright spots of a really sad current Angels organization. 5 years from now, he'll only be entering his age 29 season. At 6, Gabriel Moreno. He'll also be entering his age 29 season. He was a top prospect for a reason. He's got a really good hit tool, and he's a great defensive catcher. I think he'll age really well, and at some point, he'll be one of the top catchers in the game. 5, Francisco Alvarez. At one point, literally the number 1 prospect in baseball. He'll only be entering his age 27 season in 5 years. At that point, I think he'll regularly be hitting 30+ home runs and be one of the best offensive catchers that we've seen since Mike Piazza. 4, Patrick Bailey. He'll only be entering his age 30 season 5 years from now. Love his defense, and I think over time he's going to continue to become a better and better hitter. At 3, Ethan Salas. He's obviously a mega prospect. 5 years from now, he'll still only be 23 years old. But if he is as good as everyone says, 5 years from now, he'll already be one of the top catchers in the game. It's a bit bold considering Adley Rutschman didn't even make it to MLB till his age 24 season, but the hype around Ethan Salas is insane. At 2, William Contreras will be entering his age 31 season 5 years from now. This season, he's really breaking out as one of the best catchers in MLB. Right there in discussion for the best. And I think 5 years from now, he'll still be right up there. But at 1, Adley Rutschman, he's been a superstar basically since he came to MLB. I think his hitting is just going to get better over time. Plays great defense. He does it all. And I think in his age 31 season, he will be the undisputed top catcher in the game. Definitely has Hall of Fame talent. And definitely is already on a Hall of Fame trajectory. Moving on to first base, a bit easier. At 10, Christian Encarnacion Strand. I really like his numbers in the minor leagues, and he'll only be entering his age 29 season in 5 years. Though he's not having a great 2024 season, I think he's going to figure it out, and I think when he does, he's going to be a really, really good power hitter. This is the 30 to 40 home run guy. At 9, Spencer Torkelson. I feel pretty similar about him. He'll be entering his age 29 season. As I've said, I'm not as high on him as some people. I don't know if he's overall going to become like a great hitter. I definitely think the power is going to be there, and I think he'll be a 35, 40 home run guy 5 years from now. In fact, he may be that already this season. At 8, Xavier Isaac. He is the number 1 first base prospect currently. 5 years from now, he'll be entering his age 26 season. He was an excellent hitter across the minors last year with a 916 OPS. And they see him as a future power hitter, which is why he has a 65 grade power tool. Speaking of power, at 7, Pete Alonso. He'll be entering his age 34 season. He should still be hitting home runs. At 6, Freddie Freeman. He'll be entering his age 39 season. It might be bold to have him this high, but he's a future Hall of Famer. And while maybe his power will drop over time, it's just really, really hard for me to imagine him not being one of the best hitters his entire career. Next, at 5, Tristan Casas. He'll be entering his age 29 season. The signs are there that he's going to be a really good hitter. He showed it last year. I think he's got a bright future ahead of him in Boston. At 4, Vinny Pasquantino. 5 years from now, he'll be entering his age 31 season. I like his eye at the plate. He doesn't strike out a lot. He's a big guy, so I think eventually he'll hit for more power. At 3, Matt Olson, who will be entering his age 35 season. Another guy who 5 years from now, I just can't imagine he's not going to be hitting home runs. I think he'll still be a 35 to 45 home run hitter. Maybe even more, as we saw last year. At 2, Bryce Harper, who will be entering his age 36 season at that time. He's someone who I definitely think is going to chase records. And I think at age 36, he'll still be one of the better players in the game. And at 1, Vlad Guerrero Jr., who will be going into his age 30 season. He was touted as one of the greatest hitting prospects of all time. He's got the skills to do it. I know his career to this point's been a little underwhelming in some people's eyes, but 5 years from now, he'll still only be 30. He's got plenty of time to figure it out. Moving on to second base. At 10, he'll be entering his age 30 season 5 years from now, and that is Andres Gimenez. He's a phenomenal defender, and I think he's a good enough hitter to be really good 5 years from now still. At times, he's even looked like a much better than average hitter. At 9, Luis Arias. 5 years from now, he'll only be 32. He's one of the best batting average hitters we've seen in a long time. I don't think that changes anytime soon. At 8, Gleyber Torres. He'll also be entering his age 32 season. He's been a disaster in 2024, and at times he's been insanely streaky. He's a really well-rounded second baseman who can do a little bit of everything. I think he can stay inside the top 10. At 7, JJ Weatherholt. He'll be entering his age 26 season. He's one of the upcoming top draft prospects, and he's especially noted for his really good ability to hit for contact, as he has one of the best hit tools of any of the upcoming prospects in the draft, and I think he'll probably settle in at second base. Another player in that draft, at number 6, I have Travis Bazzana, who will also be entering his age 26 season. I like his overall skill set just a little bit more, but very similarly, he's going to be a really, really good hitter. At 5, entering his age 38 season, I have Marcus Semien. Admittedly, this is pretty bold, but I kind of think Marcus Semien might be a future Hall of Famer. If he's going to do that, he's going to have to still be pretty good 5 years from now. But he plays every day, so he's going to put up some really good stats. An even older player, at 4, I have Jose Altuve, who will be entering his age 39 season 5 years from now. Said he wants to get to 3,000 hits. I think he can get there, especially because he's not slowing down. He's still so good. I think he'll still be a top 5 second baseman even when he's almost 40. 3, Ozzie Albies. He'll be entering his age 32 season. Last year, he really took a big step forward. I think he continues this. He's a really good player. I think he'll continue to be one of the best second basemen in the game. At 2, Mookie Betts. He'll be entering his age 36 season. He's one of the best players in the game, and 5 years from now, I still think he'll be one of the best players in the game. But the best second baseman 5 years from now, I think it'll be Jackson Holliday. He'll be entering his age 25 season at that point. He's the number 1 prospect in the game today. It's because he's insanely talented. And 5 years from now, he should be entering his prime. Next, third base. 10, I'll go with Noel V. Marte, who will be entering his age 27 season in 5 years. Yeah, the whole PED thing, not a good look for him. Definitely made me reluctant to put him on this list. But he is a super talented player and one of the top third base prospects in the game. At 9, Ke'Bryan Hayes. He'll be entering his age 32 season. He's obviously a fantastic defender, and I think he's going to become a better hitter over time. And if he does, he's definitely going to be a top 10 player in 5 years. At 8, Manny Machado, who will be entering his age 36 season. He's just been consistently super good. I think it will continue. He's got a legitimate chance at 3,000 hits and 500 home runs. At 7, Jose Ramirez. He'll be entering his age 36 season. I definitely think he'll be in the decline in 5 years. He may even be there already, but I think he'll still be one of the better third basemen in the game. At 6, Josh Young, who will be entering his age 31 season. He's looked really good so far in MLB, and I think 5 years from now, he'll be a 30 home run hitting third baseman. At 5, Royce Lewis, who will be entering his age 30 season. This is only health dependent. Other than that, he's going to be a superstar. So far, he just cannot stay on the field. If he does, he's definitely going to be one of the top third basemen in the game in 5 years. 4, Munetaka Murakami. He will be entering his age 29 season. Back in 2022, when Aaron Judge was setting the American League home run record, Murakami was setting the Japanese-born home run record. He hit 56 home runs in 2022, and he's a superstar in the making. As soon as he's eligible to come to MLB, he's going to be in extremely high demand. At 3, Junior Caminero. 5 years from now, he'll only be entering his age 24 season. He looks like an incredible hitter in the making. I think even at 24, he'll be one of the best hitting third basemen in the game, if not one of the best hitters in the game. That's why he's a top 5 prospect in baseball right now. At 2, Rafael Devers. He'll be entering his age 32 season. He's got to continue to play just good enough defense to not move off the position, but I do think his hitting will still be there. But at 1, also entering his age 32 season, I have Austin Riley. Across the board, Austin Riley is just a really good player, and I think he'll be the top third baseman in 2029. Moving on to shortstop, at 10, I've got Trey Turner, who will be entering his age 36 season. When the Phillies signed him to this huge contract, I was definitely nervous about the back half of this deal. 5 years from now, we'll kind of be right in the middle. I think he'll lose a little bit of speed, but he's still a really good hitter. So I think he can stay just inside the top 10. At 9, Francisco Lindor. He'll be entering his age 35 season. I think he'll still be a really good defender at that time, and he'll be a good enough hitter that I think he'll also be able to stay in the top 10. At 8, Bo Bichette. He'll be entering his age 31 season. He's a super talented hitter who will be right in his prime. I think he'll still be really good. At 7, Anthony Volpe. He'll be entering his age 28 season. He looks remarkably better this season than he did last year. His at-bats are so much better, and I think in his prime, he'll put up a pretty good batting average and is a really, really good defender. At 6, O'Neal Cruz. He'll be entering his age 30 season. An insanely talented player. If you could just cut back on the strikeouts. When he's in his prime, I think he can be a shortstop who can hit 40 home runs. 5, CJ Abrams. He'll be entering his age 30 season. The Padres called him up way too early, but 5 years from now, he'll still only be 28. And it's amazing how much better he looks this season. He started breaking out in the second half last year, and then he's carried it into this season, where he's looked incredible. At 4, Corey Seager. He'll be entering his age 35 season. When you're that good of a hitter, you should age pretty well. I think he'll still be one of the top shortstops in 5 years. At 3, Gunnar Henderson. 5 years from now, he'll only be 28. He's already in the top 5 discussion for best shortstops in the game. In fact, he's already in the discussion for the best. And at age 28, he'll just be in his prime. At 2, Elly De La Cruz. He'll be entering his age 27 season. This is a massive upside play. His upside is as high as any player in MLB outside of Ohtani. At his peak, I think he's a 30 to 40 home run guy with like 50 stolen bases. But the number 1 shortstop in 5 years, I think it's going to be Bobby Witt Jr., who will be entering his age 29 season. He's already in the discussion for the best shortstop in the game. And in my opinion, he's the most well-rounded of them all. The sky's the limit for him at his peak. Moving on to outfield. So I narrowed this down to just 10 outfielders. 10, Mike Trout. He'll be entering his age 37 season. This is entirely health dependent. Maybe this is more of a hope than anything else. If not him, Luis Robert. But as long as Mike Trout is able to play in 2029, I think he's still going to be a top 10 player. At 9, also entering his age 37 season in 5 years, is Aaron Judge. Another player, if he's healthy 5 years from now, I think he's still going to hit incredibly well. Even if he's not as good at defense, I think he can still hit 40 plus home runs when he's 37. At 8, Charlie Condon. When I originally made this list, I had him over at first base, but I think he might end up as a corner outfielder. The stats he's putting up in college are absolutely absurd. It's going to be one of the best seasons of all time by a college player. And 5 years from now, he'll only be entering his age 26 season. So he'll be right in his prime. At 7, Jackson Churio. 5 years from now, he'll only be entering his age 25 season. He's been compared to players like Acuna. He's already in MLB, and he looks okay. He doesn't look outmatched. 5 years from now, he'll be entering his prime. I think he can be a 30 home run, 30 steal kind of guy. At 6, Corbin Carroll. He'll be entering his age 28 season. He had a fantastic rookie season, and 5 years from now, he'll be in his prime. I'm not concerned at all about a little bit of a sophomore slump so far. At 5, Fernando Tatis Jr. 5 years from now, he'll still only be 30. He missed an entire year of baseball, came back, and won the Platinum Glove in a new position, while also going 25-25. At some point, he'll probably have a 40-40 season. Genuinely one of the most talented players I've ever seen. At 4, Wyatt Langford. 5 years from now, he'll be entering his age 27 season. I cannot say enough good things about Wyatt Langford as a hitter. He's struggled a little bit so far in 2024, but 5 years from now, he'll be right in his prime. I think he's going to be a superstar hitter. 30 to 40 home runs, a good batting average, steal bases. He's truly going to do everything. And he'll be one of the top players in the game. At 3, Julio Rodriguez. 5 years from now, he'll be entering his age 28 season. Kind of a streaky player, but he's definitely already today one of the best players in the game. 5 years from now, he'll be in his prime. Who knows what he does? I think he's got 50 home run power. At 2, Ronald Acuna Jr. 5 years from now, he'll be entering his age 31 season. From what we saw last season, I don't think anything is off limits for him. He's another guy who I genuinely think could hit 50 home runs, which means he could go 50-50. He has that insane of upside. But at 1, I'm going with Juan Soto. 5 years from now, he'll be entering his age 30 season. Another guy I can't say enough good things about. I knew things would go well for him in New York, and so far he's looked incredible. It's amazing to think that 5 years from now, he'll still only be 30. I think Juan Soto will be the best outfielder in MLB in 2029. I'm not going to do an entire top 10 list for DH, but I think Yordan Alvarez will probably be pretty good 5 years from now. He'll only be entering his age 32 season. And best two-way player 5 years from now, Shohei Ohtani. I think he'll still be a two-way player 5 years from now. I don't know if that's bold. I think he'll still do it. And he'll probably still be pretty good at hitting and pitching. And lastly, starting pitching. At 10, Corbin Burns. He'll only be entering his age 34 season in 5 years. I don't see any reason why he still won't be a really good pitcher then. At 9, Jackson Ferris. He's arguably the best left-handed pitching prospect in the game. He's also a part of the Dodgers organization. All he's got to do is work on his control a little bit. He reminds me a little bit of Blake Snell. 5 years from now, Jackson Ferris will only be 25. But when he's locked in, he's going to be awesome. At 8, George Kirby. 5 years from now, he'll only be in his age 31 season. With his ridiculously good ability to locate pitches, I still think he'll be one of the top pitchers in 5 years. At 7, Pablo Lopez. He'll be entering his age 33 season in 5 years. Yeah, 33 made me a little bit reluctant, but how many pitchers nowadays have been super good in their 30s? For example, like Zach Wheeler. That guy just keeps getting better. I think Pablo Lopez can do the same thing. At 6, Bobby Miller. 2029, he'll be entering his age 30 season. He throws a crazy velocity, which always makes me nervous with all these pitching injuries, but he's super talented. And I think if he stays in the field, he's going to be awesome. And he's another guy who's in the Dodgers organization, which I like quite a bit. At 5, Yoshinobu Yamamoto. 5 years from now, he'll only be entering his age 30 season. From what we've seen so far, he's been really good. And I think a half decade from now, he'll still be one of the top pitchers in the game. At 4, Spencer Strider. Before his recent injury, I probably would have had him higher on this list. But he's the same age as Yamamoto, which means 5 years from now, he'll still only be 30. I think he can bounce back from injury and still be one of the top 5 pitchers in the game. At 3, Grayson Rodriguez. Just a couple years ago, he was the top pitching prospect. And so far in MLB, he's looked pretty solid. 5 years from now, he'll only be age 29. And with a little bit more time to develop, I think he's going to be a superstar pitcher. And the ace of a Baltimore Orioles team that has so much talent, they're going to be good for such a long time. At 2, Paul Skeens. 5 years from now, he'll only be entering his age 27 season. This is that superstar player that the Pirates could really use. Pirates haven't usually been a very competitive team, which is why a player like Paul Skeens is so exciting for their future. He might be the best pitching prospect since Steven Strasburg. He throws with an insane amount of velocity. But at 1, Roki Sasaki. If you don't know his name, you might know him as the pitcher who almost threw back-to-back perfect games in Japan, including throwing a 19 strikeout perfect game. We saw him pitch in the World Baseball Classic. He can throw 102 miles an hour. 5 years from now, he'll only be 27, and he's already expressed interest in coming to MLB. In 2029, I think Roki Sasaki is going to be the best pitcher in MLB. That's my list. It's May of 2024 at the time I'm making it. If there are any other video ideas you'd like to see, make sure you drop a comment. Thank you for watching today's video, and go baseball.